I'm Dustin Vanderhaar. I'm the Senior Vice President of our Human Services. I oversee all the different programs here at McKinley. So overseeing kind of mental health, our foster care, a lot of the different programs that are working with the children here in the community. McKinley started 125 years ago. It started actually as an orphanage for boys. And it started servicing around 88 youth back then. And then it slowly developed into a multifaceted organization. We added foster care, we added mental health services. Eventually we started to also contract with the states, the counties, and now the federal government as well.
Hi, my name is Christina Lucero and I'm a clinician at McKinley. What inspired me to become a clinician is I wanted to be in a position to help other people, to help kids specifically. When you realize that you've made such an amazing impact on someone's life, it's the most gratifying feeling.
Some of the challenges that we face are dealing with very complex trauma. A lot of the children that we work with have been through very challenging situations. And also their families are very under-resourced frequently. And what we end up having to do is find ways to work with them in a variety of settings that maybe aren't always the most standard care environments. Oftentimes we're out in parks, oftentimes we're meeting families that may be unhoused out in the community. So we're not just sitting in an office where we can kind of do paperwork. And that's always been one of those challenges where our clinicians, our practitioners, they end up doing almost two jobs. They do that clinical job that they were trained for, that they love, and then they have to do this documentation side of things, which ends up being much more tedious and kind of in some ways outside of what they were really trained in.
In a perfect world, I would get to spend all of my time having face-to-face sessions with my clients and not having to worry about the paperwork and doing notes. It's hard to go from paperwork mode to therapy mode. Kids are so intuitive. They know if you're mentally present and they know if you've had a hard day.
I'm Hans Mize, president and founder of Data 41, based here in Irvine, California. We are a data analytics and AI company. In McKinley's case, their metric is pretty straightforward. How do we help a kid, get better? How do we provide better services for a better outcome, for positive results? Our effort to help compress that so they can spend fewer hours each week to gain the same knowledge, to gain the same acuity, and to gain the same compassion for the kids that they're going to treat helps them do the job that they were trained to do that much better.
When I first heard about using AI, I just thought it was for a different field. I didn't actually expect to be using it here in mental health. Upon taking on the project and really seeing how it can save time, drive efficiency, and really make sure that quality care is at the forefront of what we're doing, it really changed my mind.
AI is just such an amazing resource that is giving us back so much more time to just be the best therapist we can be.
All right, well, we're going to do this again. So I'm going to start this way. I'll end with you, Hans, but please introduce yourself and say what you do.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. And my name is Anil Vadaparty. I'm the president and CEO of McKinley. We're a large social services organization in Southern California. And I would like to highlight that next year we are celebrating our 125th anniversary.
Wow, way to go. Thank you.
And I'm Dustin Vanderhaar. I'm the Senior Vice President of our Human Services at McKinley. So I oversee all of our different social service programs.
Good morning, everyone. Mario Gallegos, Senior Vice President of Quality Improvement.
Good morning, Hans Mize, Data 41. We're an Ingram partner based out of Irvine, California.
Hans, if you ever lose your job, you need to be a DJ or a radio host. Like, for when I met him yesterday, I was like, dude, your voice is so, like, silk. It's great. Anyway, sorry, I digress. It's early. Anyway, so, look, McKinley's impact is systemic to the health of our society, and particularly youth, right? And I think that there's lots of ways in which AI has been the topic of conversation over the last 2 days. But what I love about this story is it shows AI in action. It gives a use case and a case study of how and where you can reimagine using technology to do and solve really big problems with a new sort of thought process. So I'd like to just start there, right? What sort of put you, as a 125-year-old company, it's not like you 3 years ago said, we're going to stand this up and we're going to use the latest and greatest technology. You've been on a journey now through lots of transitions of technology, and this one just happens to be AI. So why don't you walk us through what got you here?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Tiffany. It's our hope with any technology that we use, whether it's artificial intelligence or anything else, is that it makes our organization more human. And that may sound like a contradiction, but what we're really hoping, it's particular with AI, is that it allows our team to focus their energies and time more on the activities that they love, the activities that truly make an impact. And I think, Tiffany, I saw on a LinkedIn post that you put up that 35% of salesperson's times are spent on sales activities. We really deal with the same issue. Although we don't have salespeople, we have therapists, we have caseworkers, we have teachers, and our goal is to have more of their time spent doing the impactful work while we find more efficient ways to deal with the other things that are important. The documentation, the understanding case files and case histories and things like that, they're extremely important. But the greatest impact we will always have is the face-to-face time that we have with the individuals that are receiving our services. And Dustin, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, Dustin, please.
Certainly. I mean, the biggest thing is making sure that our clinicians are with the kids, that they're with the families. Every time that they're being pulled away, that they're distracted because they're not present in that session, because they're thinking of the documentation that's going to follow, the more that they're not making an impact with that kid. They're not being able to have that ripple effect that really kind of carries through that kid, that family, that school, that community. And we really wanted to find a way, how can we make our clinicians more present in the moment, and then also retain them? Because we were losing so many clinicians that were leaving community mental health because of that documentation burden. And we've really kind of seen that solution here, and we're just really excited about it.
Rhea, how about you?
Well, my job at McKinley is to measure, outcomes and to talk to people, right? I get their feedback on how they're doing. And what Anil and Dustin were saying is very true. A lot of people don't like the mundane, right? They don't like to do the paperwork. We're highly regulated, a lot of compliance stuff. A lot of it is paperwork, and they don't like to do that. They keep telling us, we want to spend more time with our clients. And we know that if we help our clinicians do that, our outcomes are going to improve as well, because they're going to be able to be more present for the clients. Our clients are going to know that the clinicians care for them. And they're going to also be able to prepare for sessions. They're going to be able to talk to families, do the work, not just do paperwork. So it's something that's definitely going to help.
Was there any resistance? Because what I hear a lot is, I get the basic of, sure, I can automate redundant tasks and give more people time back. That's the kind of, it's almost table stakes at this point. Did you have original hesitation from your employees when you started saying, we want to introduce AI? Because a lot of what you hear is, it's going to replace my job. In this particular case, that would be almost impossible, right? But let's play that through, and were your employees saying, hold on a second, do I have to learn something new? It scares me, or I'm uncomfortable with it. How did you deal with, at McKinley, any of you, right? How did you deal with overcoming that hesitation within your own staff?
I would say that anytime there's change within an organization, there's always skepticism. There always is some worry about whether this change is going to stick. Will it truly make my jobs easier? Is it going to be more work to do? Certainly with artificial intelligence, just everything you had mentioned, we had to answer those questions as well. I think the way we tried to overcome it was just partnering with our team members right from the beginning. We're in a social services field. None of us are technical people, so this is all very new to us as well. But we really tried to partner with our team right from the beginning, to explain to them how this will help them. And we also got a lot of guidance from Hans as well, who really helped us to focus on, a specific use case and trying not to do too much too quickly. That's really also what helped to get a lot of buy-in from our team.
Well, Hans, I'm gonna come over to you, because it seems as if you found purpose in working with McKinley, and how has your relationship with them inspired your own internal teams, right, to do this kind of work? And it's one of the questions I asked earlier, right? Are your employees all in? Is it helping you attract and retain talent? And have you changed any part of your mission of an organization after working with McKinley?
Yeah, this entire journey with McKinley has been very, very interesting. We started this back in 2014 on an advanced analytics project. And I think at that time, understanding the impact that McKinley was having on our local communities and societies wasn't really fully understood on our end. You fast forward 10 years, and now we have AI. And AI, as everyone knows, is data-driven and outcome-based. And when we started working with McKinley, Anil, is something you said, and you've said a few times now, one of the biggest factors that plays a variable in a child's success through their program is that if they think the clinician cares about them. So think about that. You're working with a clinician, you're a little kid, you're not an adult, you're a kid, and you believe that person truly cares about you. So when Anil phrased this to us as far as looking at the outcomes, that really resonated with me, and we've talked about it internally many times. So if you look at the AI solution that we're actually developing for McKinley, yes, there's productivity to be gained. We're going to save them time. We're going to save them paperwork and documentation for the regulatory and compliance aspects of their business. But we're giving back time to the clinicians. We're not developing an AI solution that makes the clinicians care more. We're giving time back so they can show the kids they care more. And if they can show that to the kids, the outcome really is on the kids, and it's not on the time savings. And that's what drives us. That's purpose. It's meaningful. It's impactful. And it's really helped us recalibrate what we want to do as a company and how we want to be viewed.
Amazing, and I think it's just something that simple, right? Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have enough time in the day. I'm already maxed out. I can't even imagine finding an hour or two to volunteer our services or a time or ask our people to do one more thing in a given day. But technology allows us to use time more wisely, right, and focus on those things that have the greatest impact. And in this particular example you just gave, right, it's the clinician spending time with the child, not doing paperwork. Like that's not adding value. That's sort of the processes that we have to go through. And so yeah, I'd love to hear, as a 125-year-old organization, I feel like AI has really been one of these accelerating factors where you might say, like in 20 years, we never were able to accomplish as much as we've been able to accomplish with AI in the last couple of years. Based on that, what do you see next? What do you see sort of coming over the horizon, and how you can even continue to push the envelope for a use case with AI in McKinley?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a great question, and it's something we've been contemplating quite a bit, and again, in our work with Hans and how he's been guiding us. What we really hope to see is these small incremental wins that we can get along the way, build confidence, get our team on board, help them to really see the benefits of utilizing artificial intelligence, and from there we want to scale up. There's so many examples of where we believe we can make our work more efficient, and again reduce some of that redundancy that our team feels. And so that's really what our hope is that over the next 10, 15 years that we're continually scaling up with artificial intelligence to where we find that it really is walking side by side with us in our daily operations.
How about you, Dustin? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the idea of more and more data going into the AI that we can then use to kind of give the clinician some direction, where they can actually use this as a tool to inform their treatment a bit more, that it's not just a documentation time saver, but it can also kind of help coach them, guide them, provide them that insight on different interventions that they can use with the family, the youth, that can just really augment treatment and make it richer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think with AI, a lot of people think that we're going to be replacing people, right, with AI. And we have to make people understand that's not the case. We're just giving them a tool to have in their toolbox to enhance what they do, to be better at what they do. And I think in the next 15 years, we're going to be able to accomplish that, not only with our clinicians, but in our other programs. We do have schools. We also have foster care. So we're looking to apply AI to all these programs just to improve social services in general. I think we'll see a huge change.
Yeah, and I think, all of this is grounded, though, in the relationship, right? Because, Hans, if you show up and you're like, look, I think, well, actually, let me back up. How did the relationship begin? Let me start with you, Hans. Like, what sparked this relationship?
We were actually requested again at that advanced analytics project back in 2014. And if you look at their journey, not just our journey, we got introduced to it. In 2014, the landscape was different, the technology was different, and they were actually doing advanced analytics for behavior analysis for the foster kids that they have, if I've gotten this correctly. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to determine, look at insights from the data, and trying to determine educational programs that would have the most impact on the kids that they actually had at the school that was on site. That was absolutely fascinating to me. But again, as a technologist, as somebody who's a solution provider, we're in the bits and bytes. We wanted to produce the output, the insights. They actually had to absorb it and apply it to their organization. 10 years later, right, we're in AI. AI is a whole new frontier, and we're just getting started.
Yeah, and when you think about the relationship, right, when you're looking for a partner, whether it be with Data 41 or Ingram Micro, right, when you're looking for a partner, what was important to you from a relationship standpoint, knowing what the mission of your organization is?
Yeah, so on our end, I mean, when we first started working with Data 41, we didn't know a lot, right? We're social services, we're not IT people. So we had to bring somebody to help us, to walk us through things, to tell us what's available. If you go out there and try to shop for a vendor, people just want to sell you stuff, but they don't really want to understand what you're doing. And I feel what I liked about the relationship with Data 41 is that they wanted to understand the business. That's important. Social services is not like any other business. Our data infrastructure is not as other agencies. We have to start from scratch. And that's something that they were able to walk us through it. They helped us build our infrastructure, and then they brought a solution that was helpful. So that was important.
How about for you, from a relationship standpoint?
You know, I think just like we believe in the human connection with our clients, those we work with, you know, whenever we establish a new relationship with a vendor, we also want to know that they truly care about what we do, that they have some level of investment in the work we do, while also understanding what our limitations are. You know, we are a nonprofit organization. Resources are limited. We have a very limited IT staff. You know, we're not always at the forefront of technology, so there's some things that we have to build, and the training curve may be a little bit steeper for us. And these were the things that right from the beginning, when we met with Hans and his team, that they really understood who McKinley is, what we're trying to do. You know, and we've really felt like that partnership was solid because of that, just as Mario said, he wasn't just trying to sell us a product, he really had some investment in seeing us be more successful in what we do.
Yeah, and I think that's really the goal here. You know, I mentioned earlier, I did a session yesterday, and one of the questions that was asked is sort of, you know, it's our role as solution providers and MSPs to come up with what is that outcome. Like, what is the business outcome we're solving for? And not just go and sell technology for technology's sake. And AI is the new shiny tool, and it's the prom king or queen, right? Standing in the corner, everyone wants to like hang out with AI. But how you use it and where you use it and the things that you do can have huge implication to people's lives. And if you take anything away from these two sessions is, when you think about the outcomes, are there outcomes you can find within organizations you feel you're really touched to or connected to, and how can you find ways to give back using technology and creating a similar relationship that we have here? So, with that, I want to sort of wrap up our time together and just once again ask this sort of final question to each of you: is what was the moment where you felt like this is my calling? Once again, I think that it's important that we understand, and again, as I said earlier, it's a calling, and I want to just applaud the three of you for what you do. Let's give them a hand, because those kids are better for it. So a heartfelt thank you on that. But let's start with you, Anil. What was the moment where you said, this is my calling? I've found something that I am just completely excited about.
Well, thanks, Tiffany. And I tell my story a lot. I've been with the organization for 31 years now and really stumbled into this work. Would have never thought I would have been in social services. But, the moment I walked in and started working with the children, I just really realized how special of an organization this is and how impactful the work is. I later went to law school. I became an attorney. But this is really always what I wanted to do. And I think that calling was really day one, when I first started doing this work and seeing the impact.
Yeah, so social services or an attorney? I think you picked the right one. All right, no offense to any attorneys in the room. All right, Dustin, how about you?
Yeah, I actually realized I moved out to California from the Midwest for seminary. And I actually I just needed a job. So I found one at a group home. And the moment I walked in there and started working with the kids, I knew that I needed to pivot. I just fell in love with that work. I fell in love with the kids, the families that we were working with, and just saw the tremendous impact that we could make. So after that, I've just always been in this field.
Amazing.
Yeah, for me, right out of high school, I started working with the kids. While my friends were working at McDonald's or working gas stations, and I found a purpose. I was very happy to come to work. It wasn't really work; it was more play. I mean, it's something that I really enjoyed from the moment I started working there, and I've never stopped, and I don't think I ever will.
Hans, how about you?
Yeah, this has actually been quite a journey for me. I got into technology when I was in middle school. We actually had a computer lab in our algebra teacher's room. And if I wasn't there, I mean, I'd probably log, she kept a log of how many hours we'd spend in there, and I'd probably log about 250 to 300 hours outside of school per semester. And if I wasn't there, I was with a friend of mine at Radio Shack doing the same thing until the manager would kick us out. But then he determined that we actually helped them sell more TRS-80 PCs by having us there than not. And then going through college, starting out as a COBOL programmer. But I think, the biggest epiphany for me is that as a programmer, you can only do certain things, but as a solution provider, you can do that much more. And we're in a community of solution providers. It's our job to help solve problems. And right now, our society is plagued by a lot of problems. AI is an awesome opportunity to be able to start addressing some of those problems. And McKinley is a perfect example of that.
Well, with that, I'd like everybody to just give a round of applause to this amazing panel.